Hello, and welcome to Record Sports Hotline Live.
I always get the impression that you've almost startled yourself at the top of the show. It's like you've caught yourself by surprise.
No, it's just seeing you. It's just seeing you two guys pop up on my screen. I'm joined on Hotline Live tonight by
Hello, Daniel.
the Chuckle Brothers. There they are.
That's us.
Comedy gold from me again.
I don't know about
Guys, how's it going?
Okay.
that. Bad.
Wonderful.
Yourself?
Aye, very good, thanks. Obviously tonight, Premiership action between Dundee and Celtic at Dens Park. However, Scott, you were at the Rangers press conference today.
Important to mention, Daniel, that we will be joined hopefully later in the show by Mick Gannon, who's at Dens Park for that one, and we'll get to see. I'm hoping that he's got the leotard on. Personally,
I know that get quite a good reaction yesterday. My mum even texted me going, "What's the chat about leotard?" And I said, "Look, I'll explain later." Hopefully Mick will be chiming in.
Has she
soon.
joined the Only Scrans?
He can't be as cold as we were at Dingwall on Saturday. That is
Especially now if you're wearing a leotard.
the coldest game of football I've ever been at.
Really?
-9 it was.
I can see your -9 and raise you to -15.
Aye, when was that?
The Westfalen, when Rangers were playing the Champions League, and
Remember that
Gascoigne
game?
get maybe sent off. And that.
-15.
-15. Never known cold like it. I actually had to wear, so I was wearing my suit, but I had to wear my jeans under my suit trousers. And actually, to tell you the truth, we were hanging where the press box was suspended from the roof of the main stand, so it was even colder up there. And about half an hour before the game, I thought, I can't function. I could hardly move my foot. So I actually had to run downstairs, and I found a changing room, and I jumps into this changing room, weeks off the old suit trousers, gets the jeans, and then realised there was a bunch of cheerleaders in there. I thought I was going to get arrested.
Aye, I'm sure you just realised then. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Aye.
So Mick will hopefully be with us soon from Dens Park ahead of tonight's game. But Scott, you were at the Rangers press conference today ahead of Rangers Aberdeen tomorrow, and Philippe Clement was in very defiant mood.
He was defiant. Aye, I mean, he's nothing if not single-minded, determined, not wavering at all from his belief that he will get this right at Rangers. I suppose you need to admire that in a way. He said that there has never been a moment where he's felt like walking away, despite everything that's happened this season, despite everything that he's had to deal with in terms of what happened this summer. When you think of the Ibrox farce, having to go to Hampden, knocked out the Champions League, budgets getting cut, stuff like that. I've said before on here, I think he probably could have left the job or could have walked away when the goalposts were moved on him, but he's stuck at it. He's obviously under serious pressure, intense scrutiny at the moment. And we all know if the away form doesn't pick up, then there's only going to be one ending. But as you say, he's defiant if nothing else.
He's doubling down, isn't he?
Listen, I thought he spoke quite well today for a guy that's under major pressure.
He shows no signs of it.
No, you'll have seen loads of managers over the years crumble. When it comes to press conferences and they're getting quizzed on certain things, but he's not like that. There has been one or two wee subtle changes though. The thing I noticed today, I don't know if you've picked up on it, Jack. I think the last couple of times he's spoken, I think over a week ago, when he was asked about the away form, he kind of dismissed it and said, "No, it's not the away form. It's the whole season. There's various reasons. Blah blah blah."
Today he mentioned that he'd won 31 points out of 33 at home.
Yeah, but Patrick Stewart, crucially, in his media conference at the weekend, made a point of saying the away form has to improve. We're not happy with it, which was a kind of shift for what Clement was kind of peddling beforehand. Now, certainly today, Clement mentioned the away form specifically and said that has to improve. He's working hard to improve it. He's hell-bent on getting it right. So I think he knows that is the key thing at the moment. The home form's absolutely fine. They're doing well in Europe. sitting fairly comfortably. Got a massive game at Old Trafford next week to look forward to. But we all know the away form's absolutely dire. I mean, for a Rangers team to have played 11 away league games and won only 3, I mean, it looks as if every away game they go to now they're going to struggle to win. And I think their next 8 away games, I can't write them all off, but it's like Man United, Dundee United, Hearts, Aberdeen, Celtic, Dundee, Kilmarnock. All the places they've dropped points at so far. So
there's not very many places they haven't dropped points at so far.
Well, St Johnstone's the only team not to take points off Clement in the Clement era.
Right. I don't know. I just heard that today, and I think he's almost. I'm not saying he's enjoying it, but I think he seems to be getting something out of the fact that he pretty much is saying, "Look, guys, I know you don't want me here, but I'm here and I'm not going. So get used to it." As I said, it's almost like it was at the start of Hangover 2, and the boy Alan was at his dad's funeral, having forced him into an early grave with a heart attack. And he's standing there doing the kind of speech at the funeral, and he says, "My father's last words to me were, Alan, don't ever change." I hear you, Dad. I'll never ever change. That's what Phil Big Clement sounds a bit like there, and I think there'll be Rangers fans tearing their hair out because, do you know what? I come back to where we've been for a while now. It feels as if it's reaching an inevitable end. I wonder what happens at Ibrox tomorrow night if he doesn't take 3 points. That is a notoriously difficult fixture. The kind of winter visit of Aberdeen to Ibrox over the years has thrown up incidents and has cost managers jobs before. So I wonder what happens about that. I wonder what happens if there's a reaction to not getting 3 points for the game, which isn't the season tickets, the Scottish Cup tie against Fraser, but at the weekend, what that looks like, what the atmosphere feels like for that. I just think Patrick Stewart has given him a little bit of breathing space, but it can't go on. And I don't know what he has to now do to win back the fans that have kind of given up on him. I'm not sure if there is anything left for him to do there. As I said, though, I mean, with this Rangers side, would it surprise you if they dropped another 2 points at home to Aberdeen and then went to Old Trafford and won? Because that seems to be the way of it.
Wouldn't shock you with it.
No.
I can see them beating Aberdeen.
That shouldn't require a great stretch.
No, but you're saying it's a difficult fixture, right? Which it is. I can see them winning that. They've obviously won on Sunday. They'll beat Fraser, but at Ibrox, irrespective of what the crowd might be. Then they go to Old Trafford, and as you say, feel like a bit of a free hit, but one where they might actually get a bit of joy, given I know Man U's form's obviously picked up, but they still give you chances, and you'd imagine they'll make some changes for Europe. So all of a sudden, like the whole season for Clement, he'll go on a wee run where everything seems to be looking all right again, and then bang, they'll be. I think the next away game's Tannadice, Dundee United away, where ironically they won earlier on the season, 1-0. But that'll be a really difficult game given how United are playing. So I don't. As you say, he doesn't seem to be.
He's not stressing over it.
He's not stressed over it. I think I mentioned the other night when we were at Dens Park that it feels to me like he's had some kind of assurance that you'll be okay here. No, I said at the time, and I'll stick by it. I think he'll be here until the end of the season, pretty much by hook, no matter what. No, it doesn't matter if it goes drastically bad and there's a losing run of games and it gets to the point of no return. Then fair enough. But he speaks with a confidence that he'll be here to the summer, and he then wants to try and kick on. If he does get to the summer, he'll say Egaman will be better, Inciala will be better, Proper will be better, Cortez will be better for having this season at the road. Now, listen, whether he gets to the end of the season and they stick by him is another question, but he certainly speaks as if he's no feeling the pressure.
See for anyone at home who's not heard the Clement comments, I think we might have a little graphic showing his quote from today, but he obviously underlined, the bigger the challenge, the more hungry I am in life, I'm a winner. I always have been. And let me throw some of the comments at you from the Record Sports social media channels and response rather to his winner comment. Richard Elam, a winner? No, you're not. We're 15 points behind. A 3-0 win against the current league leaders counts for nothing. Beale and Van Bronckhorst were sacked for less. You're a perennial loser. Clement's a winner. Winners don't celebrate 3-3 draws at home like it's a treble. Craig, listen, Phil, if you have to try and convince people you're something, you definitely aren't. And this one here from, if I can find it, John Clement tells us he's a winner. Not away from home he isn't. And Rangers easy okay. I think if we don't take 3 points tomorrow, you'll find more people outside Ibrox on Sunday than inside. So fair to say that his comments
that's Rangers easy nicking my part of there.
Well, I think either way, fair to say it's not going down well with the Rangers support.
Listen, I get where they're coming. Obviously at Rangers he's not been a winner, Daniel, but this is my point about Philippe Clement and the people that want rid of him, and I get it, I get all the reasons, and if you're going to go down a different route with a manager, say like a Derek McInnes or a David Moyes before he get the Everton job, then that's fair enough, that's a shift. But if you're going to just go and get a guy for Europe who with a good pedigree and highly rated, who are you going to get that had a better record than Clement? Who are you going to attract to Rangers? Well, this guy won 3 titles in Belgium, one with Genk that was against all odds, building a team of young players that included the likes of Sander Berge, Leandro Trossard, guys that went for millions. I mean, on paper, he looked perfect for what Rangers wanted. And obviously up until now it hasn't worked out, but you can't accuse him of no winning in Belgium. No, that's what earned him the Monaco job. Obviously that didn't go to plan, but he wasn't there that long, and it's obviously what attracted him to Rangers, or what attracted Rangers to him. So it's a wee bit harsh because he has won before. That was one of the big reasons Rangers went and got him, but he's obviously not done it here.
To quote another line from The Hangover, some guys just can't handle Glasgow. And I think
that's true.
That is Philippe Clement in a nutshell. And by the way, I really need to stop quoting examples at The Hangover, given previous past experiences. Probably not a great idea. That's how you get cancelled.
Having Hangover 2 on tonight's show wasn't on my bingo card.
No.
But
what you can't dispute, Daniel, is that, and I've said this on numerous occasions, what Rangers don't have is a winning culture and a winning mentality at the club. That you can't deny that, and people say that might take years to create again. You probably need to, by definition, win things to create a winning mentality, a winning culture. But I also think it's a lot to do with the people in the dressing room, characters, personalities. I think they can help create that. And I don't think you can ever doubt that. I think Rangers, for a number of years, certainly since the Steven Gerrard season when they won the title, they have lacked a real winning mentality. And I think that's the club as a whole. I think away from the playing side, I think the club, whether they like it or not, have got used to being second. They've accepted second best far too often. And it's now run away with Celtic disappearing into the distance. So, as I say, I don't think there's any deny. You can argue all you want about Clement, but I think in that dressing room that there isn't the winning mentality, that winning mindset that's required to go and win multiple trophies.
Again, I think it was certainly mentioned by me. Clement obviously made it clear behind the scenes that he wanted to change the leadership group inside the dressing room before last summer came around. And it seemed to me that he emptied out all the big voices. And you talk about winners and you talk about people with the right attitude and people that lead from the front. To me, Clement seemed in a curious rush to get rid of all the ones who would actually qualify as being those sort of leaders within the group.
Like Goldson, Lundstrom.
Lundstrom, yeah. I think Dujon Sterling fell out of the picture when that was strange. I thought he looked like a guy with a voice. Todd Cantwell, all these things that the guys that you think that they'll have a voice inside that dressing room, I'm not sure he encourages it. In fact, I would go as far as to say I'm pretty sure that he discourages it. He wants to be the only voice. I'm not sure that his coaching staff get to have much of a say in front of the players as well. It seems as if he wants everything done his way, and I actually think it's to the detriment, because I think when you take the fire out of a dressing room, the leaders, the guys that might chip on at people and get a response out of people, if you sanitise it, that Rangers group looks overly sanitised to me. They're too nice. And I wonder if, it's almost in Clement's image.
Dale Clark in the comment section says Clement sounds like Liz Truss before her fall, which, I mean, that's incredibly harsh on Liz Truss, I think. In one moment, we're going to bring in the one and only Michael Gannon from Dens Park. But just before we do that, guys, I mean, look, tons of comments on tomorrow night's game. Where do you think it leaves Clement if he doesn't take all 3 points against Aberdeen?
Just staggering on for the time being until the Rangers board realise that they're going to do more damage than good by not acting. Said it previously, Patrick Stewart got off to an unspectacular start with that briefing. I think he's placed himself in a sticky spot by telling the fans that black is white for Philippe Clement is concerned when they've already made up their own mind. The reaction to Rangers failing to take 3 points tomorrow night, if that should occur, will be absolutely toxic. And I this is the concern. Where you think Patrick Stewart's an experienced guy, an intelligent man. I fail to see the tactical strategy there and coming out and backing Clement 1 week, knowing that if things don't work out, and by the way, there's no basis on which you can be guaranteed that they will work out. On the contrary, that 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, you have to reverse ferret on what you said, what you communicated to the fans, and then pull the trigger, because that makes his judgment look questionable and flawed. So, I don't know. Rangers' home record does suggest that they should be able to get the points, but as we discussed earlier, Daniel, I mean, what was it? I remember Scott Brown scoring a diving header at Ibrox, put Aberdeen 2-0 up when Steven Gerrard was the manager. I remember Michael Beale turning up at Ibrox when Aberdeen came down, thinking that he was going to walk into Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's dressing room after the match and take his manager's jacket off him. And then Beale's Rangers career ironically ended with a game against Aberdeen at Ibrox. So it has been a problematic fixture. I mean, Van Bronckhorst actually won that game quite handsomely, I'm sure, but it only allowed him to stagger on for another couple of weeks before it was the end for him as well.
See just on Patrick Stewart, Jacko, sorry Daniel, Nick's waiting to come in here, and I don't know if you've discussed it on here already, but the thing that took me aback, and maybe it's just me, but the Patrick Stewart media briefing was this idea of getting outside experts in.
I think again. So there's nobody in the football club that knows what they're doing, basically.
I mean, you hear this stuff a lot now, and I mean, it just... So you're paying money for other people to come in and
tell you that the guys you've got aren't good enough.
I thought the whole point of appointing a chief exec and a sporting director and people like that was to sort out the problems at the club. And also when he talks about, we're going to get football. No, who's the football? Philippe Clement is a football expert. Whatever you might think of him as a manager, he's had 30 years in the game as a player and a coach.
And Niels Coppin has been given that role.
Exactly.
He should be the troubleshooter, and he's in-house.
I think if there was ever anything Rangers fans didn't want to hear at the weekend for Patrick Stewart was, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get some other people in to try and sort it out.
Aye.
You could have in there and said that.
Well, look, Alistair in the comment section saying Keith has got the Rangers set up right in the money, and that all the fans agreeing with Keith is one of the signs of the apocalypse. So on that note, I'm going to go to Dens Park and speak to the one and only Michael Gannon. Mick, how's it going?
Evening, chaps. All right. Not too bad. Not tonight. Not this. Not in these conditions. No, I don't think so.
That might not.
It's all right.
That might be even less flattering than in nice, warm, cosy conditions.
Well, exactly. Microscopic lenses required. Anyway,
Look, enough about the only stands. So, Mick, you're obviously there tonight. Celtic, the visitors to Dens Park. Tough game for Celtic. I mean, obviously 2 points against Rangers last week, but Dundee, they've still got a lot of players missing, and look, you'd obviously expect a Celtic victory, wouldn't you?
Yeah, possibly, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was points dropped here tonight. This is what kind of the sixth game for Celtic in 19 days. There's also the Scottish Cup this weekend ahead. There's Europe next week. If there's going to, and they've got this 15-point lead. So if there's going to be points to go any point in time, I would think this is kind of a prime candidate for some points to go. And you look at Dundee last week against Rangers, how good they were, despite the injury problems and absence they had. So I think this will be a really difficult game for Celtic, and it's could be interesting. That's what I mean. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if there was a result from Dundee here tonight.
Mm. What do you think, guys?
I'll take a Celtic win. And listen, Mick's right. Dundee played really well against Rangers. They've got a couple of right good players, a couple of guys that can threaten Celtic and run at them. But just Celtic are just too strong. They're just too strong, and I think Dundee will make a game of it. Similar to Ross County, managed to make a game of it for a while the weekend. Ultimately, Celtic, too much quality and too much in reserve. So even if Plan A is not going well, Plan B comes on off the bench, and physically, this Celtic side, mentally and physically, are made for these kind of occasions. It's why they keep winning the league season on season, because they've cracked the code in terms of, right, okay, nobody really fancies Dundee away, the middle of January, cold night, but they find a way. And it's whether that's the leadership of McGregor, it's a manager that knows what's required over the course and distance, and a group of players that all buy into the same thing and that determination to win. So yes, I think Dundee will make a game of it tonight, but ultimately, how many times have you seen Celtic go into a situation like that? Even if it's tight in the second half, they find a way, they get the goals. A 2-1 becomes a 3-1, and they get back down the road with 3 points. That's what I think you'll see tonight, because it's a movie that you've seen over and over and over again. Yeah. Hangover 2.
Yeah, I think that's the more likely scenario. I just think that this period is so grueling. The game's coming thick and fast. At some point, there is going to be points going somewhere. But then again, Celtic just seem to keep going, don't they? It'll be interesting to see the lineup tonight. We're waiting for the team sheets. See how strong he goes. Does he stick with the same starting lineup from the weekend at Dingwall? I think maybe it's a good option with Kyogo and Nicholas Kuz is kind of back fit again. Do you bring him back tonight, or do you hold him for the weekend against Kilmarnock in the Cup and then Europe next week? I don't know. I think that's also an option. So yeah, it is interesting. I thought Celtic played the first half in Dingwall. I thought they played really well. Look at the conditions and all that stuff in the opposition. I thought they played really well. Maybe 10-minute spell in the second half and Ross County came back in, they got a goal obviously, but I thought they were a really dominant display all round. Yeah, it's just hard to maintain that all the time. At some point, a wee dip at some stage. So it might be a wee sneaky feeling. You might be right, Keith. It might be a kind of a ground out 2-1, 3-1 job as well.
Michael, that's why I've been predicting since the start of the season, even though Daniel will deny it. I've been tipping Celtic to break the 100 points barrier, and it's because of nights like this. Because ultimately they've been there, done it. They've got out of town with the 3 points. It's what they do. It's why they're so far in front of everybody else.
It's also the options. It's the options they've got as well. Mick, I mean, I know they've obviously still got some injuries, wide players and that, but it's just the options they've got. No, as you say, at the weekend they can go with Ida and Kyogo up front. It just gives them something a bit different. No, you think they're missing all these wide players, and he plays Kyogo, and he looks even more dangerous. Coming off the right than he had been through the middle. He brings Luke McCowan on, who's obviously come back to Dens tonight, and he gets a goal. Engels is coming onto a game. He can shuffle the midfield. Bernardo didn't get off the bench on Saturday. So it's what we've spoken about all season: the depth of squad, the quality they've got in every position. They can mix it up, swap it around, as you say. Scottish, with the league 15 points ahead in the league, Scottish Cup tie against Killie at home is probably more important than the game in the night. So do you rest a few for that? Then you've got young boys game as well, which is of vital importance as well. So I just think Brendan Rodgers has got that luxury now, but with the gap at the top and the squad of players he's got, he can mix it up, keep it fresh. And I agree with Jacko. Whatever he does tonight, there'll be a kind of freshness to it, and I think they'll be too strong for Dundee.
I do think, I don't know you boys this time of year, but I think the scheduling has to be looked at as well. I'm talking about Celtic here, but every team in Scotland is on its knees at the moment with the scheduling. When you spoke to Jim Goodwin last week, Stuart Kettlewell, I'm sure Tony Dockett would say the same thing. The squads are on their bare bones, the players are on their knees. And listen, from a Celtic news point of view, big European games next week that are season-defining European games that can get them qualified for straight into the last 32s, last 16s, or knockout stages and all that stuff. In Europe, really huge games with implications with coefficients, and we're battering our teams. They're going to, I mean, this is like 6 games in 19 days. We're not two to go. Another one to go this weekend for the games next week. I mean, it's a bit ridiculous, really, that the young boys of Bern have got a weekend. This is their first weekend back from the winter break this weekend, and next week. But Celtic will have had 7 games in 22, 23 days. Yeah. It's madness what we do in this country. We're trying to help. We're trying to help teams in Europe, and we're actually battering them before they get to Europe.
I'd like to see how the Swiss are doing that, though, because, you know, there is no room because of the amount of international games that are getting thrown in, and it feels like the first 3 months of the season you're just starting to get into domestic, and then it's away in an international break, and that goes on 3 times over the course of the first 3 months. They're squeezing these games all over the place into the calendar. FIFA are doing more and more of it. UEFA are doing more and more of it. There's more Champions League games. There's more Europa League games. I don't know. Honestly, don't know. I would hate to be in charge of trying to organise the fixture list for the SPFL, because I honestly don't know where you're supposed to go. Mm-hmm. I mean, unless you want to,
The problem in Scotland is the importance we place on the League Cup. Our League Cup is a prime trophy. No other country in Europe treat their League Cup with so much importance as we do. Mm. So what we could do in Scotland is the international breaks. Play the League Cup. Play the League Cup during international breaks, and you'll get Rangers fans, Celtic fans, arms in the air go, we've got too many players away in international duty. Tough luck. You've got massive squads, massive setups. Deal with it. Don't prioritise. Listen, you've won 119 trophies to 118. I mean, if you've got slight disadvantage in this one because of the scheduling, what do you want? Do you want to have 2 weeks off before the European game, or play a full team against Morton in the 3rd round of the League Cup? You do that. If you want to find 3 weeks, there's 3 weeks right away.
I think that's a crack.
I'm not playing 3rd and 4th round. Play 3rd and 4th round in the international breaks.
I think that's a brilliant. I think it's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, but you can't moan about having players away, having massive 30-man squads. Just get on with it. Play it.
Aye. Look, there's
the Rodgers and Philippe Clement. Did I have a week off before a European game, or have I played a youth team or a League Cup against Alloa? What do you think they would say? So get on with it.
Aye, of course.
So
look,
that's an idea.
We've had plenty of Celtic-based comments coming in. Let me throw a couple of them at you. Paul Archibald simply says, "I'm the main stand tonight. Will Michael buy me a pie?"
No, I'm still on my diet. No pies near me. If I buy a pie, it's no senior.
Question asked and answered. We've also had a lot of comments tonight asking about Celtic transfer news. And I'm only bringing it up because we've had so many. John here saying, what's the latest on Tierney and Jota? I only bring it up because last night's show, I think you said, Keith, you still fancy Tierney to be in by the end of January, but Mick, you think it's more likely to be the end of the season?
Listen, I think they'd love to get him in January. I just think financially that a lot of bridges need crossed. And likewise with Jota, there's some massive financial bridges to cross for that one. I think if he sets foot in the UK, he'll hit a massive tax bill as well. So I don't think he'll even come back to his holidays for another year.
That does present a little bit of a problem, yes, the tax bill.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think he'll even pop in to visit some old pals for a while. So yeah, there's a few things need to be done. Celtic, I think Celtic will wait towards the end of the window before they make any moves, really. I think they'll hold tight in terms of any departures as well. I think they'll wait. I think it's about kind of late flurry of activity at Celtic. I think they will strengthen, but I think it might be late in the window.
What's your gut feeling on Kyogo, Mick? We obviously asked Brendan Rodgers about it after the game on Saturday, and as much as he said he wanted him to stay, it was fairly non-committal, I must admit. I mean, he wasn't very convincing in terms of being desperate to keep him at the club. I just wonder, when you look at Kyogo, I know Brendan Rodgers kind of shot this down yesterday about body language and stuff, but you look at Kyogo at the weekend, I just wonder whether he's feeling it might be time for a move. But the balance is Celtic will obviously want him for these Champions League games for young boys and Aston Villa obviously away. Can you see? Do you think he'll go in this window, or do you think it'll be, if he does go, it'll be the summer?
I can't see him going this window unless there's a seriously big offer and the player himself is seriously agitating to go. We touched on it again with Brendan Rodgers yesterday, and he was quite interesting. His answers yesterday in today's paper as well. That he's not going to stand in anyone's way who wants to go. If you want to go, you'll go, as long as there's money on the table. So if there is a hint that he's buying a move elsewhere, he'll be out the door. And the key is having a contingent and having a replacement lined up. But I just think that at the moment, I don't think Kyogo is in that position. I don't think he is. Speaking to guys, the players who train every day, he's still the same kind of character behind the scenes. I'm not sure about the celebration thing. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's just getting a bit blasé about it. I don't know. But I can't see them selling in this window. I just can't see it. But the other side is he's 29. This is potentially his last big move. Also potentially Celtic's last big chance to sell him. In terms of getting money in from him. So if a £10 million bid comes in, you think, well, that might move the dial. But there's too many big games ahead to even consider anything. I don't think he'll be sold.
D-Man's in the comment section, guys, and I know you said this yesterday, Keith, that you found that Atlanta United announcement a bit suspicious. He says, I'm sure a multi-billion-dollar organisation just announced the wrong player. Happens all the time. I did find that really strange as well. We announced the wrong player. I mean, seems a bit strange to me.
Especially
it wasn't the club, was it? It was
the MLS.
It was the MLS.
But Atlanta United have been interested in him before.
Yeah.
I think they registered their interest before we're trying to buy him. They clearly want a striker. I mean, I think I'm right in saying they've bid something like 18 million for the boy Lat at Middlesbrough. So they clearly get money to spend, and they want a centre forward. And so, like you say, Daniel, I mean, there's usually no smoke without fire.
Right.
It's a strange one, and we did discuss also previously that sometimes clubs, when they go into the Asian market, in order to help assimilate players, they'll maybe bring in a couple, 2 or 3 from the same sort of neck of the woods to make them, make it more comfortable for them in the dressing room, make it easier for them to get to know the group. And we do know that Atlanta have already signed one Japanese international. So, and you look at what Ange Postecoglou did. He bought bulk from the Far East, and it was to Celtic's benefit. And Scott Burns mentioned to us yesterday or a couple of days ago that he's aware that the interest was absolutely genuine in the summer. But at that point, Celtic didn't have any strikers. I don't think they'd got the deal for Adam Ida done yet. I can't see any sense in Celtic selling at this point, especially not with so many big games to come over the horizon. Champions League. If the Champions League campaign was over and there was no chance of progression, then maybe you think, well, make some money there. But with the Champions League still in play, no, I just can't see it. I can't imagine what figure Celtic would look at and say, yeah, that's a deal we can't refuse, because Celtic can refuse just about anything right now. More chance Kyogo's time might come around at the end of the season.
Well,
I think that is a distinct possibility.
It's not as though Adam Ida's been firing them in either. He's not scored in any of his last 11 appearances. So
that's the thing. I mean, as Mick says, if they sell Kyogo in this window, they would need to have a replacement already lined up, because, as you say, Ida's not exactly firing. I mean, undoubtedly, Ida would probably come in then and be the the first pick, every week until they get somebody else in. But I mean, what is he? He's not scored in 11.
No, you'd need to be able to bring in, if you're going to placate people on this one, you'd need to bring in a striker who's proven at the highest level, and that means he's a Champions League goal scorer.
Yeah.
And you'd need to bring him in to front it up.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Because that's what Kyogo gives you. Isn't it?
yeah, I just don't think the Celtic fans would tolerate that, and I don't think the board are silly enough to, when they don't need the money, they're sitting on a handsome pile of coins right now. It's not something they need to do. Therefore, even if 10 million now and they risk going down to 8 million in the summer, so what? It's not something Celtic need to do.
Mick, your request to buy Paul Archibald's request to buy a pie is not going down well. Calls you a miserable kid. So if you want to catch up with Paul, maybe smooth things over, I think that might be in your best interest.
I'm just thinking there, Keith talking about signing guys is kind of like ready-made roommates for signings. Reminds me of a tale from back Craig Brown when he was manager at Aberdeen.
Where are we going, Michael?
He signed 2 boys from England, and they come up, and one of them went to the first team, and the other one was made his debut for the reserves down at Covers and working in the North East patch at the time. Went down to see him, and his first touch, he blizzarded it right out of the park at the North Sea. And everybody says, I can only send him because he's pals with our guy. An expensive roommate.
Mick, I know you'll have pre-match duties you need to be getting on with, but before we let you go, what's your prediction for tonight?
Well, I don't know, but I've seen you talking about Philippe Clement, said he's hungry, and I must admit, I'm feeling a bit same myself, so I might go and go. The pie's gone. There's a part-timers in now as well, look.
Who was that, Jim Goodwin?
I've got a sneaky feeling that this will draw tonight. There we go. Put my neck on the line. I want each straw.
Keith, Scott, how do you see it going?
We've already answered that. Celtic.
Celtic win. Aye, but
Celtic
score-wise,
win. I'll go 3-1. Yeah. There you are again, wee man.
Great minds again, Jack.
I could just draw a wee love heart Rangers.
These 2 are back in 8-1
Telepathy.
These 2 are back 8-1 favourites. I'm putting my neck on the line here.
Mick, I hope it's an absolute cracker for you, and I hope it's not too cold as well. Thanks for joining us on the Hotline Live.
No worries. See you later, chaps. Have a good one.
Cheers, Michael.
Cheers, Mick.
Enjoy your pie, mate.
Michael Gannon there. I'd like to, as well, in the comment section, thank John for pointing out that it looks like I'm wearing Mickey Mouse ears when I sit between my 2 lamps.
It does. I've often thought that. Yeah.
And as soon as I said it, I went like that. And he was like, I know you're watching the chat, so I think. I should have asked Mick this, really, guys, but do you anticipate any big changes for Celtic tonight? A few people saying, look, McCowan should come in, Kyogo should stay in the wing. What do you think?
I think there's a good chance McCowan will come in.
Yeah.
Maybe for Hatate for the weekend. As I say, keep Hatate for Kilmarnock in the Cup, or even looking further ahead, as we've touched on, young boys in Europe.
The Dundee players won't like that they're playing against Luke McCowan either, because he'll have tormented them in training and all that. That seems like an obvious choice, isn't it? You put him in for that one.
Yeah.
I think he might keep playing Ida Daniel to try and get him that goal.
Yeah.
As I say, also they're missing wide players, so it's maybe easier for him to keep him in. But I think Brendan Rodgers will want him to get. I think he mentioned that yesterday. He wants him to get a goal. He's maybe feeling it a wee bit. Adam Ida, so I'd expect him to start through the middle again. And unless he's going to throw Kuhn back in straight in after injury, then you might find Kyogo coming off the right again, which he did to obviously a brilliant effect at the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, I think that brings to the end of Tuesday night's Hotline Live, brought to you by Record Sport. Thank you so much to Michael Gannon at Dens Park and Scott Burns for his little cameo there. And Keith and Scott, thanks very much for joining me as ever.
You're welcome.
Cheers, Daniel.
Yeah, they are. The wee lovebirds. They look cute, don't they? We'll be back to look over...
Coming out for dinner now. But for the nice wee romantic dinner. Okay.
Netflix and chill. We'll be back to pour over all of tonight's action for Dens and, of course, preview Rangers against Aberdeen at Ibrox tomorrow night. We'll be back at 6 p.m. Hope you can join us. See you then. Thanks for watching.